Life can be pretty funny. Depending on where, when, and who you're born from can dictate how your life plays out. Many people often have vast and grandiose dreams they can never really materialize due to unfortunate circumstances. Some do achieve success, despite it, but many don't, and oppose forces greater than themselves. Addiction, lust, things that have been the ruin of man since the very dawn of time, and for good reason. If humans are made in the image of God, then to become truly fulfilled would be to overcome sin, the antithesis of God. Some people go crazy and can't handle that and give up. They recluse. I've been there. Some start committing crimes and enacting their internalized rage on others. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in a creator that gave man the greatest gift of all, life. Sometimes I see people who are out of life-threatening situations like cancer or a car crash, and they use their second wind of life to waste time and do the same bullshit. No epiphany of any kind. I've made mistakes in life, but I try to improve in my craft every single day. Finding a purpose in life is the most essential part to being a man. People who waste time or just chase and follow what others are doing are people who lack a purpose. It's better for a man to find a purpose at a very young age rather than contemplating later and risk having a crisis over the notion of having wasted time. Some of the most dangerous people are those who lack purpose because they're the ones with nothing to lose. When you have nothing to lose, you're a danger to yourself and others. Once you do find that purpose, well, that's when the real struggle begins. You'll face resistance, scrutiny, rejection, disillusionment. Like, is your work even good enough to sustain yourself and pique the support and interest of others? After all, when you're doing something, whether it be music, entertainment, sports, or you're competing with potentially millions of others in that same field as you, competition can be just as dangerous as it is important. It can be used to separate the unique from the repetition. I'm a comic artist, so I like to dissect and analyze people in that field. Take Charles M. Schulz, for example, the luxurious creator of Peanuts. Before he was boosted into stardom and universal iconicness, he suffered a long period of failures. When you take into account the overall cynical nature of the series, such as Charlie Brown, never kicking that damn football, Linus's obsession with his blanket, Peppermint Patty's lazy bum attitude towards life, Lucy's bitchy behavior, and her obsession with Schroeder, he used his shortcomings in life and personal experiences to craft a work that resonated with the human zeitgeist. But it took him years to get to that point, multiple failures before he even reached such a level. Another example would have to be Akira Toriyama. Before Dragon Ball, before Dr. Slump, he was just a graphic designer. When he submitted his work, the editorial department rejected him for years. Even when he did find success with Dr. Slump and created Dragon Ball, it wasn't an immediate success. In fact, when Dragon Ball first came out, it was on the road to cancellation. It's crazy to think that a series as influential and impactful as Dragon Ball became was at one point on the verge of ending prematurely. Hell, we can even look at music. Even the more prominent examples like Prince, his crazy work ethic, where he would wake up every day, go to his studio, and record music, never distracted to the point. Even his company has thousands of unreleased music years after his death. Michael Jackson, although not of his own volition, the abuse he did suffer from his dad ultimately made him become greater than anything him or his family could have ever imagined, changing the music industry forever. Not a bad trade-off, even if he did die younger than he should have. When you look at some of the greatest people in their respective fields, they have something in common that a lot of people lack today. Discipline. Often that's important to instill at a very young age to maximize potential. It was easier to harness back then too. In our age of instant dopamine and gratification due to social media, online prostitutes, and the overall holistic, desensitized nature that the world works on today, it's all a fight for your attention on shit that ultimately doesn't matter. Only serves to fill the pockets of whatever greedy sponsors or marketers rely on it, which is all of them, let's be real. They want you to be fat, stupid, and addicted, a mindless consumer. I honestly feel like even I could have become great already, if not for the distractions hell-bent on wasting my time, and before the entertainment landscape swung too far left. But that's the trap, one of the many challenges that every man, every serious man needs to overcome. The greatest men you can think of usually became great at a very young age, typically between 20s to mid 20s. If you aren't actively pursuing your ambition and really serious about it, it becomes harder. Not impossible, but far harder as you get older. If you wait too long, you're not really serious to begin with. And I understand that circumstances can conflict with what we really want in reality, but 9 times out of 10, it's up to you to take that stride forward. Most people never achieve their aspirations because they give up too early. Switch gears, they call it quits at a critical moment. And that's what separates you from the greats. I've always said everyone has great ideas, but only few people actively position themselves in a way that those ideas can materialize. There's a reason there's only one Michael Jackson, one Michael Jordan, one Vincent van Gogh, one Walt Disney, one Julius Caesar, one Alex Jones, one Frank D. Wolf. Most of us won't become as great or known as any of those guys, but they also had to overcome some trials and tribulations that are now imposed on us, if not worse. We're all human. We're all capable of making the same mistakes, the same solutions. There really isn't much holding you back, at least not completely. When you're in an industry like the one I'm in that's been completely compromised, that makes the struggle more fun in a very twisted sense. So why not give it a shot? No excuses.